Morning. There we go.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
look at who you brought in, the fatigue expert, Coach Jeremy Shear. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. I'm good. How are you?
Fresh, man. But I've
Glad to
trust
hear
me,
that.
I've been through every one of these stages of fatigue in the last couple of years, or
This may
maybe
be the
last
first
couple
time
months.
I've been called the fatigue expert in my life.
Ah, well, you got to find your niche. I mean, this
Yeah,
could, this could take off into a YouTube channel.
watch out.
Yeah, you've always been good at allocating energy, so it's uh it's great to have you on here, man. It's been a minute. We tried before, but here we are again. And well, anything you want to say to summarize fatigue, or should we just go into the different aspects of it?
Yeah, I guess the first thing I would say is, a lot of times I think we're quick to just say, I didn't have it today in this workout, or I just wasn't feeling it, or this one was tough today, or some sort of statement like that, maybe in the middle of your workout or at the end of your workout. And really, I think the difference is, yeah, that's maybe true that day. But if we can kind of stop and identify, okay, well, what's the reason? Basically, ask yourself why. Why didn't I have it today? And one or two questions, and then maybe narrowing it down a little bit can help you either get over that fatigue quicker, figure out maybe what's going on in your life, and try to avoid it in the future if you can.
Sounds good, man. Well, you had a nice little list that you sent out to your athletes the other day, and I thought it'd be a good one to kind of go through and bullet point.
For sure.
So I have them in here. I am prepped for
Let's
this.
go. Fire away.
Thinking about this. So I guess we're going to start with muscular fatigue, which is basically soreness, which I always kind of associate with people that are doing weight training, but or it can be many other things like 50K at run camp.
There you go. Yeah, muscular fatigue, right? This is one where if you're into triathlon or you're into running and you're training consistently, right? Daily, maybe twice a day, things like that, you're going to have some underlying level of muscular fatigue. But if it gets to the point where it's affecting your next workout, right, that's going to be a little bit too much, So if you have a tough workout on the bike, on Monday, and then you go to your afternoon run or a workout Tuesday morning, and you're still really feeling the effects of that muscular fatigue or that soreness, and then you can't perform that next workout, that's an issue. Typically, muscular fatigue, it's going to be short term, right? It'll be a day or two. It's going to usually go away on its own. It's usually an indication that you haven't recovered as well from the workout that's causing it. But really, where you want to be careful there is you want to make sure, if I'm going into this next workout and I'm feeling this muscular fatigue, do I need to adjust this workout? Do I need to move this workout? Do I need to talk to my coach about, how the last workout affected me and what's going on today? And kind of get that figured out. And hopefully you can kind of maneuver your way through that with or without a coach.
Mm. Yeah, one of the most confusing pieces of endurance sports for me was when I first started, and the frankly kind of soreness you have to get through mentally. Just that low level kind of like, either muscle or tendon, maybe fatigue or something that I almost constantly feel as I get older, even getting out of bed in the morning. It's like I get up and I'm like, this ain't perfect. But it's one of those things you kind of just walk off, right? It's just sort of that healing process. And I think that a lot of first time athletes or new endurance athletes, like I know I felt that pain and I'd be like, maybe I should stop. But it's kind of one of those things you have to start to recognize that really is it something that's going to hold you back, or is it something that's going to go away as you get warmed up?
Correct. And as you get more experience, you're going to be able to know that earlier, right? And you know that about you and your body that, hey, if I get up and first thing in the morning, I'm not feeling 100% fresh and ready to jump out of bed. Well, part of that is that, like you said, normal under low lying fatigue, right? It is what it is. But if after moving around and walking around and waking up and an easy warm up and you start to get into your main set and you can't hit a pace or a power number because of that soreness, that's when we have an issue, right? And that's what we need to address it and adjust.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And always have a theory or a thing I do. I just try not to think about it because it can be it's sort of that transition from, sitting down, just getting up from a desk chair sometimes can be a pain in the ass.
Right.
You can't really buy into that as true fatigue, I think, or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
you got to give yourself a chance to perform, right? You can't just write it off right away.
yeah, it's that kind of that. Yeah, it's just the muscles repairing kind of stuff, and I mean, it is. The sport is kind of training with fatigue, so you have to recognize what's a little bit of muscle fatigue and what is whole body fatigue, which can lead into some problems.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, right, kind of what we were talking about before is more specific muscular fatigue, right? One muscle group or something that's derived from a specific workout where it's pretty clear and pretty obvious. When you start to get into some whole body fatigue, right? That's where it all feels wrong, right? My run feels wrong, my ride feels wrong. I'm breathing too hard for this run pace. I'm working too hard for this. I can't produce, power numbers on the bike, and it's kind of all gone sideways. And that's going to be typically more of a long-term problem. And a lot of times that comes from overtraining and can cause some burnout. So, that's something where if we don't address it early, it just takes kind of longer and longer to reset and get back to that baseline. So if you start to feel this day after day and a week and it turns into 2 weeks, right? We need to kind of shift gears and get off that path quickly and get you back to on the right path and feeling better and well rested and normal.
Yeah. Yeah, because this training is, well, any kind of training really is about creating stimulus and then finding recovery. And as an older athlete in this sport, I find that someday, we don't really schedule, or at least I don't schedule a whole lot of off days. Um, but I encourage people to take them when they need them or feel them because I think that, you can almost benefit from it. I mean, there's just so many theories, but like I think a lot of people are overtrained, like you're saying, and that whole body fatigue. And that day off um, really becomes almost one of the most effective days you can have because you need to give your body a chance to repair. And, I think so many people fear that not getting training is going to put them behind, but I think that continual behind the eight ball training is even worse.
Correct. I feel the same way. That one day off maybe translates into your next 5 days of workouts being 10 to 20% better, right? And so where are
Mm,
you going to get a better stimulus or a better outcome from taking a day off and then having 5 days in a row of fantastic workouts, or pushing through that day and then 5 more days of mediocre workouts, right?
yeah.
So you're spot on. That day off can be fantastic. And I'm the same way with my athletes. I am probably 50-50 on if I schedule a recovery day or not. But if people don't have a day off or recovery day, usually everybody's got pretty well like an active recovery day, which is, a light load and a shorter workout, and then get the blood flowing and the muscles going, but no real hard efforts. And we kind of treat that like recovery too. So that works for a lot of athletes.
Yeah, as it should. And a lot of people have a tendency to not hold back on those or, take them as easy as they should.
Right.
All right. So the third one is near and dear to my heart. Um, I just, I love, I love sleep, but sometimes it gets a little dicey,
Yes. For
but
a lot of people, you're not alone.
mhm, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, this is the one where you talk about muscle rep or repair. It's like, I'm convinced. I mean, you can have a good night's sleep and it when you have one. You can almost instantly tell that you're just sort of more grounded and you just have a general control of your day. But, if you don't sleep well, it's kind of a scattered, you know, cloudy mess.
Yeah, I feel like a good night of sleep, like you said, you can tell almost right away, right? You wake up, first of all, you feel well rested, right? You're not inclined to want to hit the snooze or sleep in, etc. I feel like my outlook is more positive, right? Just generally, I feel like I'm in a better mood. I'm well rested. So yeah, I would say you're spot on. It's very easy to tell, hey, am I well rested or not? And if you're not only does it affect your workouts like we're talking about here, but yeah, your whole day, right? How you interact with your family and your kids and your coworkers, and how you perform the other, right, 16 to 20 hours you're up all day. So yeah, definitely an important one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm no Peter Attia or Huberman, but I mean, it's just so obvious to me that, sleep is so important. I mean, I don't think you need to belabor it. I mean, there's a gazillion things out there on sleep now about how to get better sleep and how to I just think, yeah, it's probably all routine or whatever. And, I even believe that terrible sleep is what keeps people from, maybe losing the weight they want to lose, because it's storing energy because you're not getting rest. And it's just, that's what I guess Huberman even talks about. It's almost like a meditation, active sleep, or active rest, but not sleeping or whatever he talks. I forgot what that's
Yeah.
called, but that's why I really like to. I think things go better for me when I meditate. 20, 30 minutes a day, and it just kind of calms things down. It just helps me sleep better, I think, in general.
Yeah, and it has been a hot topic, right, for a few years. And there's that Matt Walker book that's been real popular recently. And yeah, you can find all the information, right, about, hey, how do I sleep and things like that. I think, in my experience and talking to athletes, um, the two biggest, I guess, and easiest things I would say, and we all know the hacks, right? Like dark room, and it's got to be cold, and this temperature
Mhm.
shower and all that stuff. That stuff probably all works, right? I'm confident that it does. Um, Two biggest things I find personally, and I think a lot of my athletes find, are routine, right? Especially around times, like in bed the same time and up the same time. And I feel like your body just gets into that rhythm, and it can shut down and fall asleep faster, right? When it's the same time every night. And then again, it almost naturally wakes up at the same time every morning. And I think, that is a lot easier and a lot better on your body than, okay, hey, during the week, one night I go to bed at 9, and then it was 10:30, and then there's a 9:30, and then it's the weekend and it's 1 a.m. and then it's,
Hmm.
12:30, right? And I think that's hard on your body, even if you got the same number of hours of sleep, which is hard to do sleeping like that. But just being out of routine and that variability, I don't think is very easy on your body. And I guess the other thing is kind of that routine before bed, right? And everybody's got their, sleep routine and all that stuff, and we don't need to get into it. But I am a pretty big proponent of, no screen time, reading, something easy, whatever, and like no screens in bed, all that stuff. I think makes a pretty big difference on letting your mind kind of shut down, rest, and sleep easier and faster.
Damn. The routine thing is killing me, but yeah, I mean, it really is. I just find there's two things you can that when you're amping your brain up. For me, that's the worst part. It's like there's so many things in this world now to think about and get kind of obsessed with, and whatever. If you can get down, kind of clear the brain a little bit before bed. I mean, it just, and then frankly, I try to get to the point where I just don't give a fuck. You know,
Yeah,
because it's
love
just like,
that.
and because I am that guy that is goes to bed at different times and always has been, and it is what it is. But I try to get better. But yeah, clearing that mind, and I find that one good way to do that actually is kind of writing out my thing for tomorrow, or what do they call it, grace list too, or whatever, grateful, whatever. Just write that kind of stuff out and kind of clear your head. Is like, hey, here's what I'm tackling tomorrow. Okay, it's on paper. I can forget about it. But anyway,
Yeah. Or even, people do some quick journaling before bed, right? Just get those thoughts out of your mind, right? So they're not going round and round in your mind. Journal, write a few notes, plan out your day, like you said. Anything that you're thinking of before you go to bed, yeah, if you can get it out of your mind, it's going to help you rest easier.
yeah, I don't think it's getting any easier, dude. There's a lot of shit going on in this world, man. People are going nuts.
This is true. I would
Really?
agree.
I mean, the level of anxiety and fear right now has got to be close to, you know, peak. I hope.
Yeah, if not right now, maybe COVID times, but yeah, it is high right now.
Yeah, well, that's what started is all this shit. So anyway, uh,
Next one.
energy fatigue. Oh,
Yeah,
feeling
so
weak. I gotta edit that. Man, damn it.
yeah, so on the energy side, right? So you got to think this is think nutrition, right? So you get into a workout and yeah, maybe you're well rested, right? Maybe you don't have those sore legs or whatever. Um, but you just can't push, right? You just don't have the pop. It's just not there. And a lot of times it's just essentially it's a lack of energy, right? And the biggest cause for this is nutrition and or fueling, right? So what's your everyday nutrition look like, and what's your workout fueling look like? And we don't need to go down the high carb, low carb, high fat rabbit hole at all. But as an athlete, you need to have some handle on your daily nutrition for sure, and some handle on your fueling, right? Hydration and calories, etc. If you're under fueling constantly, especially for those longer workouts, you're just not going to have it. You're not going to have the energy. And it's not your body's fault, right? It's not that whole body fatigue, or it's not a lack of sleep or any of that stuff. It just doesn't have the fuel to perform, right? So that's something where kind of keeping some notes for a little while may help there. Like, hey, this is the nutrition I had or the fueling I had during this workout. Maybe keep those notes for a couple of weeks, and then if you get one or two workouts where you felt great, okay, well, what did that look like, right? How many calories or how many grams of carbs? If you have a couple that didn't feel great, what did that look like? And see if you can pick up any pattern. And then beyond that, everybody knows how to food track and keep tabs on all that. So that can be a pain in the butt, but even a week or two of just like a journaling your food might give you some ideas of, hey, yeah, days after I do this, I don't feel as good. I don't have as much energy. So a lot of times this is all diet and nutrition related.
Mm. Uh, yeah, that's interesting, man. I also have this theory too that that I don't food journal, and maybe you do. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit, but I don't have the bandwidth for stuff like that. But I do have the theory that it could sometimes be 2, 3 days before, what you put in too, you know what I mean? Like, it's always interesting to me because you can sort of not think you're gonna feel great and feel great because of maybe something you did yesterday, but maybe it was 2 days ago or 3 days ago that you just kinda started depleting yourself and your body has enough for this day, but tomorrow it kinda catches up or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. It's not necessarily the meal that was right before that workout. It certainly could be the day before or 2 days before. So I have tracked my food in the past. I don't do it currently. I think it's a good practice, even if you do it for a short term, just to kind of see, right? A lot of times food's one of those things where until you really look at it on paper or on your phone or however you want to track it, a lot of people really have no idea what they eat over the course of a week or how many calories or what it looks like, how good it is. A lot of it's just almost like a habit. Hey, I'm walking by the pantry. Let me grab this. Or hey, I'm over here and this is out. Let me eat that. So um, I wouldn't recommend doing it forever. I'm like you. It's a pain in the butt. I don't think anybody likes it, but maybe a little 1 week window or 2 week window snapshot gives people some ideas. And for me, um, I'm pretty routine. Yeah, I have the same breakfast basically 7 days a week. Dinner is 6 days a week, usually at home and pretty clean and well cooked. And for lunch, I tend to have the same 3, 4, 5 things too. So that helps, right? If you can find something that works, kind of stick with it. Makes it a little bit easier too.
Mm. Yeah, that's so interesting, man. Yeah, because if you do track it for a couple weeks, for me that would just be about getting sort of a ballpark, thing going rather than being real specific about it. These kind of things seem to make me feel good, and I'm just always intrigued because I'm always today or recently I've been kind of looking into, I've always been interested in fasting and intermittent fasting and all these types of things, but I can't sometimes I just can't get out of my head that, you know, people talking about intermittent fasting or consistent fasting or whatever. Um, I wonder if they're not, Ironman triathletes. You know what I mean? Like how that shit might be really good, but then again, if you start depriving yourself to the energy that you need to actually do some of the things we do, and I've often referred to a lot of times during Ironman training, towards the, couple 2 months out or something is when I'm going real hard and long. I'm eating everything in sight, and that's really when my body starts coming into shape too. It's almost like you can't be, screwing around with depriving yourself all these calories, because if your body needs that stuff, it ends up backfiring in the other direction.
Well, yeah, and it's two problems, right? You can't perform during your workout, and then you also can't recover after your workout.
Mhm.
So yeah, if your body's short on nutrients, and calories, it's a problem times two, both sides of that workout for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to go into this last one that you brought up? You were adding mental, emotional fatigue. You got to find your why, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And I didn't put this in the email the other day, but this is a huge one. Sometimes, right, there are things that are totally unrelated to physically how you feel that will still affect your capacity to work out, or perform a certain workout. So, for example, as like a personal example, last weekend, my family got some, you know, bad news about somebody we knew. And it was a little bit of a rough weekend. And I got in the pool Monday morning. And again, to use that statement, right? Like I just didn't have it. But then when I stopped and I thought about it, it was because I was just mentally checked out, right? I wasn't there. I wasn't present. I wasn't focused. I wasn't hitting the times, that I would expect to hit. And it was supposed to be a little bit of a harder workout. And I just knew halfway through, like, hey, this isn't going to get any better, right? I'm distracted right now. I've got a lot on my mind. Me doing the other half of this swim workout, I'm not going to be able to perform how I should perform, and I'm not going to get what I need out of this workout. So maybe it's time to call this one. And I cut it short and called it good. So, that mental and emotional side, it could be something like that for me, where it's short term, right? And hey, after a couple of days, your kind of head's back in it, and you get back after it again. Or, what you really want to avoid is if you've got some long term, right, mental or emotional things going on, where maybe you need to talk to somebody, seek some professional help, right, or counseling or therapy. So, um, any of those issues can certainly affect how you perform in and around workouts, obviously your daily life. So, definitely another one to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good stuff there, man. Yeah, because it's out there. It turns into, even if it's not even consciously on your mind, I think those types of things just kind of boil in the background. And they say brain, energy takes up a lot of energy during the day in general. And if you have, if you're working overtime on, grieving or whatever the case may be, which I just went through with Maddie, it was like for a month, I was doing all this stuff, carrying her out and worried, every day. And it was just kind of building up, and, it kind of comes to a head, and there's just only so much we have. So I do think that might be the lesson, is this, sometimes, taking a little break, um, can actually increase your fitness, sort of rebuilding way.
I agree. Correct.
So, all right. Well, there he is, the fatigue scientist.
You got it.
In this case, maybe science isn't real.
Tough to
But
say.
no, but anyway, good talk, man. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think a lot of us deal with it, and hopefully, as always, as I say about the podcast, maybe there's one nugget in there that connects, or that is kind of that. I've been thinking about this, but the way Jeremy just explained that, it's going to solve a lot of problems.
We hope so. I think the key is really stop, ask yourself why, and see if you can kind of figure out what's going on.
All right, I'm good with that. All right, buddy. Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it, Mike. Always good to chat.
Yeah. Have a nice day over there. Hope it's warming up. and go State. Oh, we play you guys Sunday.
Do we?
Michigan State, Wisconsin.
Did you see that buzzer beater the other night?
I missed that.
That was a good one.
Who'd you beat?
Maryland.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't tell if that helped or hurt us actually, but there's a lot of jostling going on right now. But you guys are looking good.
We'll see.
All right, buddy. Thanks again. I will talk to you soon.
All right, Mike. We'll talk to you. See ya.
Yeah.